1. The haunted classroom. When I was in high school, there was a classroom that was rumored to be haunted. It was said that the ghost of a former student who had died in a car accident haunted the room. One day, I had to stay after school to finish a project, and I found myself alone in the haunted classroom. I could feel a chill in the air, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. As I worked, I heard strange noises coming from the back of the room. It sounded like someone was whispering, but when I turned around, no one was there. Suddenly, the room became icy cold, and I could see my breath in the air. I heard the sound of footsteps coming towards me, but when I looked up, no one was there. I quickly packed up my things and ran out of the classroom. I never went back to that room alone again. 2. The phantom teacher. When I was a student teacher, I was assigned to a classroom that had been vacant for years. It was said that the previous teacher had died in the classroom and that her ghost still haunted the room. At first, I didn't believe in ghosts, but strange things started to happen. The textbooks would move on their own, and the chalkboard would be covered in mysterious writing. One day, I was grading papers in the classroom when I heard a voice behind me. When I turned around, I saw the ghostly figure of a teacher standing in front of me. She didn't say anything, but I could feel her presence. I quickly left the classroom and never went back. 3. The possessed locker. When I was in middle school, there was a locker that was said to be cursed. It belonged to a student who had died in a tragic accident, and strange things would happen whenever someone tried to use it. One day, I was assigned to the cursed locker. As I opened it, I could feel a strange energy emanating from inside. Suddenly, the locker slammed shut on its own. I tried to open it again, but it wouldn't budge. I could hear faint whispering coming from inside the locker, and I knew that it was cursed. I quickly reported the incident to my teacher, and the locker was removed from the school. No one ever used it again. 4. The ghostly orchestra. When I was in high school, I was a member of the school orchestra. We used to practice in the school auditorium, which was rumored to be haunted. One day, during practice, we heard the sound of a piano playing from the stage. We thought it was strange, as there was no one on the stage. As we continued to practice, we heard the sound of other instruments joining in. It sounded like a whole orchestra was playing, but there was no one there. Suddenly, the music stopped, and we could hear a faint whispering. We quickly left the auditorium and never went back. 5. The haunted bathroom. When I was in middle school, there was a bathroom that was said to be haunted. It was rumored that a student had died in the bathroom, and her ghost still haunted the stalls. One day, I needed to use the bathroom, and the haunted bathroom was the only one available. As I walked in, I felt a strange presence. As I was washing my hands, I heard the sound of someone crying. I looked in the mirror and saw the ghostly figure of a girl standing behind me. She looked sad and scared. I quickly left the bathroom, and from that day on, I avoided using that bathroom at all costs. A few weeks later, I heard that the bathroom had been closed for renovations. When it reopened, the rumors of it being haunted stopped, and no one talked about it again. However, I still remember the feeling of unease and fear I had that day. It was a creepy and unforgettable experience that made me believe in the paranormal. Overall, these experiences in school taught me to be more aware of my surroundings and to always be open to the possibility of the supernatural. Even though some of these encounters were frightening, they have also sparked my interest in the paranormal and led me to explore it further. 6. The phantom bell. When I was in high school, I used to stay late to work on projects. One night, as I was leaving the building, I heard a loud bell ringing. I looked around, but I didn't see anyone or anything that could be causing the sound. The next day, I asked the school staff about the bell, but they had no idea what I was talking about. They told me that the school had never had a bell, and that there were no bells nearby that could have been heard from the school. The following night, I stayed late again to finish a project. As I was leaving, I heard the bell again. This time, I followed the sound to an old classroom at the end of a dark hallway. The door was locked, but I could hear the bell ringing from inside. I tried to push the door open, but it wouldn't budge. I went to the school staff the next day, and they reluctantly told me the history of the classroom. Decades ago, a teacher had hanged himself in that room, and his body had gone unnoticed for days. Ever since then, students and staff had reported hearing a phantom bell ringing in the school, especially at night. I never stayed late in the school again after that experience, but I could still hear the phantom bell ringing in my head every time I passed by the old classroom. 7. The mysterious figure. One day, while I was in college, I was studying in the library when I noticed a strange figure sitting across from me. It was a tall, dark silhouette with no discernible features. I couldn't see its face, but I felt like it was staring directly at me. I tried to ignore it and focus on my studies, but the figure didn't move or disappear. It just sat there, watching me. I started to feel very uncomfortable and decided to leave the library. As I walked out, I noticed that the figure was following me. It was a few steps behind me, but I could hear its footsteps echoing in the empty hallways. I walked faster, but the figure kept up with me. Finally, I reached a busy hallway filled with other students, and the figure disappeared. I looked around, but I couldn't see it anywhere. I never saw the figure again, but I later found out that the library was built on the site of an old school that had burned down decades ago. The mysterious figure could have been a ghost or spirit haunting the library. 8. The haunted auditorium. When I was in middle school, I was part of the drama club. We would often rehearse in the school's auditorium, which was rumored to be haunted. One day, while we were practicing a play, I saw a shadowy figure move across the stage. I thought it was just a trick of the light, but then I saw it again. It was a dark, shapeless figure that seemed to be moving independently. I pointed it out to my fellow actors, but they didn't see anything. I thought I was just imagining things, so I ignored it and continued rehearsing. A few days later, we were practicing again, and I saw the figure once more. This time, it seemed to be getting closer to me. I started to feel very uneasy and told my drama teacher about it. To my surprise, she told me that many students and staff had reported seeing strange things in the auditorium. Some had seen the figure I described, while others had heard strange noises or felt cold spots. Despite the rumors, we continued to rehearse in the auditorium. While we never encountered the figure again, we would often hear unexplained noises or feel sudden drops in temperature. It became an inside joke among us actors to blame any mistakes or forgotten lines on the ghost in the auditorium. One night, during a school event, the auditorium was packed with students, parents, and staff. As the play was about to start, the lights suddenly flickered, and the sound system started to malfunction. We could hear whispers and strange noises coming from the backstage area. The play had to be postponed, and the audience had to be evacuated from the auditorium. The school staff investigated the incident, but they could find no explanation for the electrical and sound malfunctions. After that incident, the school district decided to close the auditorium for renovations. When it reopened a few years later, no one reported any more paranormal activity, but some say they can still feel a strange energy in the space. Overall, these paranormal experiences in schools were certainly unforgettable, and I've never forgotten the strange occurrences that I experienced firsthand. Even now, as an adult, I still get chills when I think back to those eerie moments in my school years. Thank you for watching. And please consider subscribing for more videos like this.